All right, guys, so this is going to be a little bit of a controversial video. I'm not going to talk about my political opinion here, but I am going to talk about both sides of the spectrum with less lethal. And I've been watching the California riots yesterday, and I really started to think a lot about the less lethal. And there's a couple of issues that I want to go over and address. The first issue is the power issue to all of the jewel junkies out there. And I know a lot of my buddies are, and a lot of guys in the groups are, but you know, the more I do this, the more I see that I don't think the need for extreme jewels is necessary. And I think these videos that are out there now are proof. If you look, I've seen a few FN 303s being used. I've seen a lot of EKSs with hoppers on them. And I've seen a few Burner TCRs used. So I'm assuming different agencies probably have contracts with different less lethal companies, and that's why I've seen so many different ones. When you have riots and large scale scenarios like this where they have to break out this type of equipment, it's never good. You know, it's never good for publicity. It's never good for the hobby. It's never good for anything, because now you have fanatics and you have activists out there that scream that these things are inhumane. And if you've seen some of the videos, like I've seen in some of the pictures and footage out there, people are getting seriously messed up. And these launchers are between 15 and 25 joule stock. So that's proof to all the jewel junkies out there. You don't need to have this power. You just need to know where to aim, and you have to practice with yours. And those guys using them are hitting them in the right spot, because I saw some guys, their faces were messed up beyond belief. And there's no way in God's green earth you could tell me that one of those to the face is not good. I've seen the damage done to them. These guys are jacked up bad from a chemical round whacking them in the face, or from a kinetic round whacking them in the face. The pictures are out there. So, and these agencies are not using 30 to 50 joule or 70 to 100 joule launchers. They're using 15 to 25 joule launchers. That's it. So, you know, that right there to me shows that the lower joules can work. The next thing that is disturbing, which I just said, is now you have people out there that are going to be screaming that these are inhumane. And that opens a different can of worms. And then the other can of worms that I'm a little concerned about that I see is, well, the law enforcement groups have these less lethal tools at their disposal. We have been around a while, less lethal, and obviously we know in the hobby more than most other people, but it is not going to take too long after this for a lot of these protesters and militant groups out there and fanatic groups that are anti-establishment to realize they can get these and better ones, and they're not regulated, and they can also modify them and use them to their advantage. And that creates a lot of other issues and a lot of other problems. It also, not only does it create a lot of legal problems for less lethal, it also creates a lot of supply and demand. As these riots break out and things happen, now you have, you know, whether it be the government side that needs a big supply of these, so the supply goes down as they take them because they have big contracts, and the demand and prices go up for civilian use. And then as groups out there that find out they can get these and buy them in bulk and have them for their people, well, now you have their supply going up and the demand is greater. And as we could see, a lot of these companies out there, they are not geared to produce extreme large quantities fast. There's many times there's waiting lists with things and stuff like that. So, I could see this going in a different direction, and multiple different directions, I should say. And it's just stuff for us to think about. Sometimes it's a little bit scary, but these are realities that can happen. And these are some of the things that I've been thinking about lately as I've been watching the riots break out there. And, you don't know how these riots are going to be, if they're going to spread, if they're going to be in other states, other cities. And I think right now, less lethal is definitely in the spotlight. And sometimes being in that spotlight is not where you want to be with something. So with that being said, use common sense, use judgment, and, I'm not a person who likes to think about going out and panic buying or that's just not me. And it's not my cup of tea. But understand, over the next couple of months, depending where this goes, supply and demand and prices may change drastically because of this, not to mention some legislation. So we have to keep an eye on this, and we have to, just be aware. And, constantly, as far as we go, we need to always do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And, this is a great hobby, and it gives us a great way to defend ourselves and protect ourselves while preserving lives and while saving livelihood. So just think about that when you decide to either post a video or do something or show something to millions of people when you put it out there. Guys, stay safe, stay smart, educate yourself. Education is key. You can't unlearn what you learned. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.